To call,
Or Dave, can I give these non-agenda items to Bill, to Dave, for you? Can I give these
give 'em-
to him?
yeah, give him the Dave Wilburn,
Is
please.
that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Just get them passed up to Bill for the minutes, when we're done, okay? So just let me know when Dave has those.
Go ahead, Dave.
Okay, I'd like to call to order the October 5th Fitchburg Board of Public Works meeting. Attending tonight, we have a full quorum. Alder Sarah Schroeder, member Kim Lobdell, Dave Wilborn, and Michael Granetsky. First item is public appearances for non-agenda items, which I believe we have at least one, maybe two. Dave Wilborn, can you
For you, Dave.
let us know who's here to speak?
All right, Tom Clouder, for district, representing District 4, wishes to speak on the burned pond. Am I right, Tom?
Okay, Tom, the board recognizes you. Whenever you're ready to start.
Thank you. Tom Clotter, 2583 Norwich Street, it's Fitchburg. Actually, I'm here though representing District 4 with I had actually 3 complaints I want to bring to your attention as a committee, but I'll tell you about them. I'll tell you briefly about 2 of them, but the one I want to talk about is Bill Bulke, I think you're aware of it, and that's good. But my phone's been ringing, it's about the burned pond. The burned pond is the pond that was put in by the city. It's off, if you don't know where it is, it's off of Richardson. At the end of the street you'd be going south, but the pond is to the west behind the Anderson house. And the situation is this pond was put in, and they called it actually the burned pond. And the problem is, folks, we're having is it's holding water, and it shouldn't be holding. There's like 12 inches of water, and it was supposed to dry up after the neighbors were told this pond would not hold the water after a certain period of time, and it's not doing that. Now, I want to make this clear. Claudia has met with the homeowner and was working on it also. But I just wanted to bring that to your attention so you're aware of it. The pond, I just want to read you something from one of my constituents. And I see Randy is the other alder for District 4 sitting behind me as well. He's here. And one of my constituents wrote, this is unacceptable considering the rising property assessments. Let's put that aside for a minute. We were promised there would be no standing water within 72 hours, and there is over 12 inches of water for the last 5 days. So, Bill, I guess, are you aware of this problem, or did Claudia say anything to you about it?
Yes, and we're working with the engineers to come up with a solution to that problem. Okay. We had to resurvey the area to make sure that we could come up with the solutions, and we're working on it.
Okay, that's fair. No, that's fair. Thank you. You're aware of it, you're working on it. That's also, keep in mind, it's not just the one neighbor. It also is for all of the neighbors that are involved there because of the fact they're all watching and that type of thing. The other two complaints I've had, and you're going to hear from people talking about this, the other 2 complaints I've had is on Fish Hatchery Road. I know you're involved with it, Bill. It has to do with the second green, the second tee off, and Sam Schultz will talk on that. And then there's another water issue I have. I don't know what's going on. It must be in the wind or the water. It's District 4, and you're talking to the guy that's getting this stuff. It has to do with the water issue on the O'Brien property, and they have some questions. Keep in mind when the two people speak, they're from the same family, so if they sit here and here, is that okay? Or is that okay? They're from the same family, and they're okay with that, with wearing masks. So both of these people, the Fish Hatchery Road and the O'Briens, will speak for themselves. Mr. Chair, thank you.
All right. Who would like to, who's next speaking?
The next one I have on here, Dave, is Sam Schultz, 5723 McKee Road. Has to do with speaking on the number 2 T renovation.
Okay. Sam, whenever you're ready, board recognizes you.
Hi, I'm Sam Schultz, 5723 McKee Road. I ran the golf course for 25 years, and I'm a golf professional, and I have 25-plus years of being a Class A Wisconsin golf course superintendent, all right? I play the golf course almost daily. They have reworked the number 2 tee area along with the Fish Hatchery Road renovation, and they have done a very, very poor job of it. I brought some pictures that to give to you folks. I don't know how to do it, but on there they have, I've circled areas where there's big wet areas that have no drainage in them whatsoever, right in the middle of the tee. And there should be subsurface drainage, and there should be drainage usually with gravel and different things, but it really needs to be in there. Otherwise, the tee becomes very unusable right away. Then, along with that, they were supposed to take out part of the hill that they have running into this tee area. Unless you can really see it, I don't, if,
Hold the map up to that camera.
oh, okay.
You
Yeah.
can sit right there. You can sit right there. Camera right there will get you. Hold the map up.
Whoops, excuse me. I don't know if you can see this now, but there's 2 circled areas. One is the wet spot that's been there, and it's constantly wet or it's a puddle. That's the only way I've ever seen it. And then on the side there is the hill that was supposed to be taken out. The second picture I have is from the back of the tee. And it shows Fish Hatchery Road project and the wet spot that I was speaking of and the hill. But what you don't see is the green. The green is way, way over to the right. The tee is face down Fish Hatchery Road, which presents several problems in and of itself. With that hill in there, it forces everybody to tee off to the left. If you've got a left-handed golfer, you're going to get people having golf balls into their windshields right down Fish Hatchery Road. There's no way to stop that. I've seen it many times. In fact, that's how I originally got hired at Vitens Golfland, to work for George Vitens. Very similar situation. Those problems need to be addressed now while it's still under construction, rather than in the middle of the spring and it all has to be torn up again and golf course has another big problem, losing more business, and that's just very standard. If you have things not looking good, then things will be, you'll lose a lot of business, like any business. And I also brought one more picture to show you. It shows the type of turf that they have there and then the soil. It should be a mix of soil for the tee, just like it would be for a green, so it would drain properly. And I see no indication in here of any subsurface drainage or any drain tiles of any kind going in there, which there should be. Can you folks see the pictures that I'll leave these here so you can examine them.
No, we can see them.
Okay. Do you have any questions to propose to me, or?
I have some for Bill. Maybe Kim can address some of these. Did we, in our proposal, our RFP for Fish Hatchery Road, we had the reconstruction of that tee box. Did we specify standard, standards for a tee, besides just throwing some topsoil down and seeding it? And second, Scott mentioned that a hill in the back was not taken down. If that was taken down, did it call for a retaining wall or something? So two questions. Did we have anything special in our spec for that part of the project? And second, was a retaining wall needed if we're supposed to take that hill out? Bill, I'll let you address, or maybe hopefully you can address these questions.
Sure. I'll have to look into the specifications that we had for the tee box. I don't have that right in front of me. I can't remember specifically about that, as far as under drains and special soil and things like that. And then I'll have to look at that hill. I don't think it was intended to. It's hard to say, not by being out there. I'd rather meet with Sam out there, and you can show me out there in person.
That would be the best,
Schedule
I
that
think.
with Sam and report back to us next time. I value the golf course there, and I agree that if you look at the tee and it looks bad, that's the most visible part of the course. Thousands of people go by it a day, and granted it's under construction. We realize that, but could you try to schedule that and report back to the board, promptly, Bill?
Sure. Sam, if you're still there,
Yes, sir.
You put your phone number on the sheet. I'll give you a call tomorrow and arrange a time later this week.
That'd be great.
All right.
And I'll leave
Thank you,
these.
Sam. Anything else?
No,
Leave the pictures maybe if you won't mind.
I'll leave these here.
Yeah, leave those with Dave Wilborn, please.
Alrighty.
Thank you for your time, Sam.
Thank you for your consideration in this. We appreciate it.
All right, Mr. Wilborn, who's up next?
The O'Briens are up next.
Okay, the board recognizes the O'Brien family.
Both want to come up and sit? It should be. Put your phone number right on there. O'Brien is here to speak on where the Public Works Department is in their process of moving forward to permit addition entrance to O'Brien's solar field at 2627 Seminole Highway. And Tom O'Brien is here to talk about water issue studies and stormwater studies from the east and clarification of sewer.
Good evening. My name is Pat O'Brien. I live at 2658 South Seminole Highway. And as you know, just recently we received Public Service Commission approval to move forward with our O'Brien Solar Fields project. We're very pleased that we finally received the approval to move forward, and construction should be starting within the next week to 10 days, and we're pretty excited about that project. We had talked to, I don't know, Bill, whether you were approached.
I talked with Bill.
Personally, Tom says he's talked to you about another entrance for the purpose of construction of the process, about another entrance to 2627 off of Seminole Highway for the purpose of moving construction materials into that property rather than going through the farmstead driveway where we have a rental unit there. But more importantly, a long-term solution as MG&E wishes to have a educational facility located on that 40-acre property for bringing school children and other interested individuals in as an educational site. We don't think it's a proper avenue to be bringing busloads of children right through the residential driveway. So we're just wondering and asking this evening, is there progress being made in securing that whatever permits are needed or whatever needs to be done to go through the process of securing that driveway access in the very near future, as construction is probably going to be starting in the next week to 10 days. Can we get an answer relatively soon?
Yes, we received a permit application from the contractor that's installing the solar, and it's under review or has been approved, I'm not sure, where that temporary driveway would go to the south of the pathway that's there, the path crossing. So I don't know if it's been approved or not, but we have seen it.
You use the word temporary. How can we make that a permanent approval? For the purpose of long-term usages, for the secondary reason that I mentioned, I'm hoping that can be a possibility.
Yeah, I'll talk it over with the planning department. I think it could be an administrative approval to change the location of the driveway as long as Public Works is okay with it. And it doesn't cause any site impacts to the overall use of the site.
Okay, thank you.
So one question, Pat. So with that driveway, are you crossing the bicycle trail with that for that driveway, or is it, before where your fields are, before where the trail crosses Seminole Highway?
No, it would be beyond the Badger Trail crossing. No,
Yeah, as
it
you're
would
going
not.
south, it's on the left, and it would be. Is there a reason it couldn't be before the crossing?
It would be on the right-hand side.
Oh, it's on the right-hand side.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah,
All right. No problem, man. I just trying to avoid having more driveways across the bike trail.
no, it would be beyond, the crossing on Seminole.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Pat. Unless I have any questions for Mr. O'Brien. All right. Thank you, Bill. We'll let you follow up with Mr. O'Brien on that issue and let the board know the timing of that, please.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
My name is Tom O'Brien. I'm here to discuss two topics, and one is the Edgewood project as far as they've gone ahead investing and progressing for their athletic field or their athletic complex. And they've done studies on the potential wetland, and in the spring they completed a study and provided it to the city. Well, the city is doing a study too, and Edgewood would like to move into the next phase, so we'd kind of like to have an indication as for when the water study is going to be completed. I've noticed, Bill, that the pumping over on the sub-zero Payne and Dolan Pond has been lowered by, I would guesstimate in the 6 to 7 foot range. And have you any indication as to what it has done to the water pressure where you have the pipe on the property on our side of the road, on south of Lacey Road? And what indication do you have of the water, the storm water that still is coming or will be coming from the east? I've noticed the retention ponds on both of those, both sides of the development on the 21-acre parcel north of Lacey and east of Seminole are directed south towards the ditch that runs to the corner of Lacey and Seminole, with the drainage continuing to the south. So I'd kind of like to have some indication of what your studies have shown. And then verification as far as the sewerability that it will be occurring there in the Edgewood complex. Is the sewer line deep enough there, or is there going to be a need for Edgewood to look at maybe putting in a lift station on their facility to get the sewer into the metropolitan sewer? Can we have some answers on that?
Lots of questions. Let's see if I got them all. What we did find out was the groundwater situation that we have there. It's a perched groundwater. It's on a layer of clay, and that it does not go into the deep aquifers, so that if we were able to punch through that layer, we could infiltrate a lot of water. I don't know how deep you'd have to dig to get through that, but our preliminary indications were that we could look at infiltration in that area. So if we could get through that, a lot of the water would infiltrate into the ground and wouldn't have the flooding conditions that we have currently. We have been monitoring the area with the test wells that we have, and I know that readings have been taken. I don't have any results or any speculation as to what it means, but we've been monitoring them for the past month and plan on doing that for the next month to give whatever data that the consultants would need to be able to make a determination on the impacts of stormwater to the area. Sewerability to the area is, we did look at that preliminary, and we feel that we can run that sewer to the south part of the property. and beyond that as it goes up the hill. So I don't think that that's going to be an indication or a prohibition. I'm going to double check that for you. I don't have the information right in front of me right now, though.
Okay, thank you.
Bill, can I ask you a question about the water study? That well on our property, how deep is that well in the ground on our property? Do you know?
We've got 2 wells in there. One is about 6 feet deep and one is 25 feet deep. The 25-foot deep one has no water in it. So and the 6-foot one has water in it all the time. So that's where we're kind of getting that perched groundwater indication that if we were to get through that layer, I don't know how deep it is, that we would be able to infiltrate that water into the system.
I'm aware of only one well,
Where's the location of the second, Bill?
We have 2 wells around Sub-Zero by Promega, the big pond up there.
well, our property is only south of Lacey Road.
Right. So the one well they have is up by Lacey Road, and that one it's 6 feet, and there's another one that's 25 feet deep there.
At the ones by Sub-Zero, we wanted to gauge not just to your property, we want an overall gauge of, the stormwater in the area, not just south of Lacey. So that's why we have the wells. We also put the wells in by Sub-Zero, Promega there.
Yeah, but I guess our concern was that you probably would not find any water at 6 feet south of Lacey Road.
Where the well is located on our property on the south side of Lacey Road, if you're only at 6 foot, you're at the highest part of the
Part of our
farm.
property, where there never was any water sitting.
The concern we have is probably 300 feet
Further to the south.
further to the south. And of course, this year it's been extremely dry and we haven't had the rainfall that we had received the last 3 or 4 years that had flooded. And that's why I asked about the study as far as the stormwater from the east side of the Seminole Highway that still comes off Savannah Oaks and Lacey Heights. The amount of water that we see in a heavy rainstorm, that we know that we have one of the lowest spots there in the area.
This is the first time in 4 years we've had a crop in that property.
So with the development that is occurring there to the north with the density and the housing, although it is not the high density, there's still a lot of ground that was covered with houses and streets and sidewalks that the water has got to run into the basins that could potentially overflow, although they're supposed to be developed to hold 100-year rainstorms. But whether they will or not is questionable.
Excuse me, Bill, when will you
Did
get more
did you have any
information back?
other questions you needed addressed right now, or have your questions been voiced to Bill to provide a response?
I only have one comment. I don't think you're going to get much from your water study with a 6-foot deep well and on our property. Thank you.
Pat, is it your recommendation that be put in 300-ish feet. I don't know if that's possible, but
No, I think your test well should have been further deeper into our lower part of our property. It should have been halfway down to the south in our property. I understand that there were other alternative sites, but they were closer to the natural gas pipelines, and that's why those sites were rejected, because they were too close to the natural gas easements. But in that approximately 40 acres, there were certainly other areas that could have been selected.
It isn't the lowest part of that, is the corner there though, is the lowest. That's where I've, for
Well,
a long time, and that's where I've seen the water most often.
well, even in the triangle property, right along Seminole Highway, there's lower areas. Even along the Badger Trail, where the ditch area to the Badger Trail.
Real great, yeah.
There's water there would be water sitting in there even in a normal year. Even into the middle of June, even in the 1st of July, there'd be water sitting in there, year after year. That's just a comment I would make.
There was water there when it was crops everywhere in this.
Yes, yes,
All right, am I stating that correctly, Pat?
yes, that's correct.
I'm not challenging you, I'm just, my observation on it too.
But I didn't realize that test well along Lacey Road, south of Lacey Road, is only 6 feet deep. That's the highest part of that property. You aren't gonna get, it doesn't surprise me there's no water there.
No, there's water at that one. The 25-foot deep one doesn't have water.
There is water at 6 feet?
The 6-foot one, Bill, am I correct? The 6-foot one was full. We didn't have any water down at the 25, like Bill was saying, where we were not getting the infiltration that we possibly could. Am I stating that correctly, Bill?
Yeah, there's a layer of clay somewhere between 4 and whatever depth, 15 feet deep, that is holding the water in that area.
But the 25-foot deep one is up on Payne and Dolan's property?
No, that one's on Lacey. We have 2 of them side by side on Lacey Road on your property.
Oh, well, then I misunderstood you. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
There's 2 of them.
There are 2 pipes there?
Oh, I only saw one pipe. Only saw one pipe on the south side of Lacey Road. And
I'll verify that.
Could we meet you there at some point, could we meet you there, Bill, and take a look at it this week?
Yeah, I'll check my calendar and give you a call.
I'd appreciate that, thank you.
appreciate it.
Anything else, guys?
No,
No.
thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brian, for coming.
You bet, David. Thank you.
All right, that concludes. Anyone else? Dave, is there anyone else there to speak?
Randy?
Rand? No, nothing, Alder Udell? Okay.
Nothing? Always with Tom.
He says Tom spoke for him.
All right.
Tom,
We're gonna move to, agenda item number 3, approval of minutes, approval of the September 21st Board of Public Works minutes. Can I have a motion to approve?
make a motion, we approve it.
Moved by Granetsky. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Lobdell. Any questions or changes? Going once, going twice. I see a lot of heads shaking no. All right. Then we'll call, all in favor of approval of the September 21st Board of Public Works minutes signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Okay. Next on to agenda item number 4, report of the Department Director of Public Works, Mr. Bill Balke.
Thank you. We are wrapping up construction for the season. Everything is getting cooler, so we're out there paving when the weather shines and is warm. And Irish Lane is going to be finished up this week, hopefully Tuesday and Wednesday. Open up to traffic Wednesday night, unless the weather equipment breaks down or something like that. But so that'll get opened back up again, and then we'll just about be done with the resurfacing projects for this year. Fish Hatchery Road is coming along. We're planning on paving up there later early next week up there, starting up at Greenway Cross and coming south. And then the pathways coming in, the walls are going up. Everything's looking good up there, except for the tee box that I got to look into. It's always something.
Keep in mind, I'm left-handed and I play there, Bill.
So I need to angle it more toward the.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Unfortunately, I'm not a golfer, so I didn't know what I was looking at when I was approving those. So we'll get it straightened away. And then on McKee, we're looking at doing some paving up there later this week, and then we're going to be looking at the final paving. And then getting the traffic switched around down there at Commerce Park, where we have to finish some stuff up down there. And then it's pretty much a wrap, except for all the subdivisions we got going. A Fields is looking to get some pavement out there in the next couple of weeks. Crescent Crossing was just paved. We're doing the final punch list on that, so you'll be seeing recommendation for subdivision improvement approval through the Board of Public Works there. Crescent Crossing. Stoner Prairie wants to get started, do some winter construction. That would be the second addition to Stoner Prairie. That would be to the east of Crescent Crossing. So it's between the school and where you see the subdivision there now. They want to do some winter construction there. Get started on that. We're starting our sewer and water projects that was approved, the sewer for Lacey Road, going under Seminole Highway over to the Badger State Trail. And then the water main through McGaw Park, those will all be completed by November 15th as an interim completion date. And then next year we'll be doing the Northeast Water Main Loop up East Clayton and down MM to the Terra Vesta subdivision. The traffic signals are up and operational now. We just have to get some street lights up there at MM and Lacey. Tonight, you're going to see an agreement for the state municipal agreement for the MM and McCoy intersection for approval, that the state is looking for an approval on that. And got traffic or transportation and transit coming up on Thursday. We'll be talking about the transit service there and Madison Metro's reduction in service plans for 2021. So just a general everything going on.
Thank you, Bill. Any questions for Bill?
Yeah, Bill, Crescent Crossing, that area, there's a path behind the church that leads to the school. I've gotten a handful of questions about motorized vehicles actually using that as a path. Just as a general question, is the developer responsible for signage to say like no motorized vehicles on the path? Is that something the city takes care of?
The developer has it on their list to put those up. So they have it on their signage plan to complete.
Very good. Okay, that answers that question. And then for McKee Road, kind of the new part that's getting paved, as you mentioned, is that something that the city is now responsible for the snow removal on, or is that still under county jurisdiction for a little bit of time yet?
The city's been plowing the road since, I think, 2017.
From
McKee, from Fish Hatchery Road to Verona Road.
Oh, okay, very good. Thank you.
I had one question along the same lines of Michael's for that Crescent Crossing development. The crosswalk by the church to the Hop House, I've had some questions that's getting busier just with the Hop House being opened. Do you know if there's anything in the works for some type of notification for drivers, just that it is pretty dark, and with increased pedestrian traffic, is there any plan to have that be a more visible pedestrian crosswalk?
Yeah, I'll have to look at that in a little more detail. We had planned on doing the reconstruction of that shortly after everything happened, all the development through there, but given that there might be a delay in those projects along Seminole for construction, I'll look at something in a little more detail.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. It's a good point. Thank you for bringing that up, Sarah. Any other questions? I had two, haven't been home in a long time. Who's gone? Has anyone gone over the new bicycle bridge? Or is it open, I guess?
It's open.
Open? No one's gone over. Okay. Second question, Bill. Just following up, we had requested a draft process for dealing with neighbors, and stormwater. Any progress on that? Report to the board.
Yeah, I didn't have a chance to work on that the past 2 weeks.
All right, sounds good. Thank you. Anything else? All right. Now, a lot on your plate, Mr. Balke. All right, next agenda item. We're gonna move on to number 5 then. Resolution R 175-20, resolution approving state municipal agreement. I gotta slide my screen here, I'm sorry. State municipal agreement for MM and McCoy Road, traffic signals and intersection improvements. I have a motion to approve the resolution.
I make a motion to approve resolution R 175-20, approving a state municipal agreement to fund the county MM and McCoy traffic signals and intersection improvements.
Moved by Schroeder. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Second by Granetsky. Okay. Bill, would you like to give us an overview? I think we were fairly familiar with everything going on out there. But.
Sure. At the intersection of McCoy Road and County Highway MM, it has been in the capital improvement plan for the city of Fitchburg for several years to install a traffic signal there. It was near warrants, but as developments have increased and accidents have increased and traffic has increased, it pushed the need to install those signals sooner than later. We did look at, this would be a project for the signalization and the intersection improvements where we're going to improve the approaches of the intersection, improve the geometrics so that we can reduce the accidents that have been occurring in that area. Earlier this year, the city had applied to the Department of Transportation for the Highway Safety Improvement Program, which is a program that they fund projects in the $750,000 to $1 million of improvement, and they fund that at a 90% cost share. The DOT approved the project, and this is the state municipal agreement that would allow the funding to take place for funding the majority of the project. The timing for the process, because it is a Department of Transportation project, kind of lengthens things out a little bit because they require a few more I's to be dotted and T's to be crossed. The process that we're going forward with is we will be designing the intersection in 2020, bidding it out with an opening date in August and construction timeframe in 2022, first thing when frost gets out of the ground. We had some scheduling conflicts with the Highway 14 bridge deck overlays, where they're not going to be out of the area until October of 21. And the construction of the two simultaneously didn't work out, so that construction got pushed back to 22. The county and the city will be splitting the cost share, the remaining cost share of the 10%, plus the design cost, the full design costs, splitting that between the city and the county as well. There'll be another agreement coming from the county to for the cost share agreement between the city and the county for that coming up. But the state agreement here would fund the intersection improvements for construction at 90%. And we're looking for approval from the board and the council.
All right, any questions for Bill? As usual, I have one maybe for Bill, and maybe Kim can chime in on this. On a project like this, what would be a typical range of engineering percentage? You know, say if a project was $1 million, what would be the range on percentage of design fee for this? I'm not, again, this is not the arena I play in. I'm kind of curious what might be a typical design range as far as percentage of the construction budget.
I typically use between 8 and 12%.
Okay, that's what I was, all right. Sounds good. That's what I was looking for. You didn't even have to think about it, Bill. Any other questions? All right, give me a minute to scroll on my screen here. Okay, then I'm going to call the vote. All in favor of resolution R 175-20, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next agenda item, up here, would be, all right. Agenda item, excuse me, I'm a little computer illiterate here.
Next item, Dave, is
I got it,
resolution
okay.
R
Resolution R
172.
172-20.
There you go.
Authorizing acceptance of proposal for AE2S for stormwater management study for the Curry Court and Old Indian Trail areas. I have a motion to approve resolution R 172-20.
I so approve.
Moved by Wilborn. Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Second by Kim. Bill, can you give us some background on this? I'm not exactly familiar where this is.
Yeah, just a minute here. I'll pull up a map for you to get you situated. Got a map in here somewhere. Sorry about that.
Take your time.
Just trying to find a good one where it kind of drills in. You can see the details.
I'm not going anywhere.
Okay. All right. Yeah, this is one firm that has a map of the area in here.
Okay.
So.
What's the road, the major road on the right there, just for reference for people watching?
This is the railroad, this is the railroad line that's through the area here.
Okay.
Sain Road is over here.
All right.
And Curry Court is right up here.
Thank you, Bill. That
Old Indian Trail. I'm trying to zoom in. Can't find it. Maybe I'll try a different map here.
Looks like it's slightly off to the west of that. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, here's Old Indian Trail right through here. So the area that we are concerned about is along Old Indian Trail. There's a park that's back here in this area, and it's pretty much all become a wetland. There was a proposed subdivision that was going to go into that area. It never got developed. They were starting to fill the area, and the drainage over time is just kind of plugged up and it's become a big wetland area there. And it's causing some nuisance drainage for the residents along their backyards where the wetland just keeps expanding because there's nowhere for the water to go. And so that's one study area that we're looking at, is to how can we improve the drainage to that area to reduce the nuisance drainage of the wetland, or the wetlands that are encroaching on the properties back there. Where's the problem, and how can we solve that issue? And the consultants that we looked at, they came up with, several different solutions on how we could possibly direct the drainage and assist with that issue. There's a lot of sump pumps that are running 24/7 up there. That there's a lot of groundwater through the area, that it's very high and has increased over the past few years. So there's a lot of sump pumps that are running, a lot of yards that are wet through the area up there. And then it comes down through Curry Court up here. And then it goes over the railroad tracks, and then it heads to the east, to Swan Creek. So we've got another project up here for Curry Court. That area, the ditches are flooding quite often. There's not a really good drainage system through the area that conveys the water adequately. And so we need to come up with a solution to, number one, prevent flooding of those homes and those yards of that area, that we don't impact downstream properties from any designs challenges that we come up with, and preventing those nuisance water drainage areas along Cyene Road where the sump pumps are running all the time. So we sent out a request for proposals to have have consultants look at this area, come up with potential solutions. And we looked at, there were 5 companies that submitted their proposals to the city. And we went through and we vetted them as a staff, and we asked, several questions throughout the process as to the consulting companies, which ones had the best qualifications of the firm, their experience with projects, the qualifications of the personnel, the experience that they have with public meetings, because there'll be a lot of public involvement as to coming up with a solution to the area. The experience with easement acquisitions, because we're going to have to acquire some easements possibly with some of the solutions to convey the drainage away and through different properties. If the consultant understood the full understanding of all the problems that we have in the area. We looked at the concept solutions, which ones were good solutions, which ones were just, hey, try this and see how it works. And then the approach of the complete approach of the completeness of the project approach. From that, we ranked the 5 firms from 1 to 5, and there were 2 of them that came to the top. AE2S, which has done a few other projects here in the city and the area, and also Mars EOR. Those 2 firms we selected to come in, or we did a virtual meeting to further explain their proposals, clarify some questions, and to get a complete understanding of the project. Then we did interview. After we did the interview, the staff had recommended that we go with AE2S as the most complete project, or the consultant that provided the most complete proposal, and felt that we could get a good project from their approach. The city then negotiated with them for the scope of the services to make sure that everything was completed. And that's how we came up with the price that you see in the scope of services for the purchase order.
Any questions for Bill? All right, I'll jump in. Was this in our CIP?
We had the study proposed in 2021, and then a design in 22 and construction in 23. We had some excess funds from another project in 2020 that we're allocating toward this design study to get started with it.
Okay. Second question, and I've learned many times, it's foolish to fight nature. The park or the wetland, is it an option to just dredge that out and have a pond there? Would that resolve this rather than directing the water somewhere else? Or is that not even an option? Crazy talk here.
No, that was one of the options to look at, is if a pond can be constructed, but we don't know if it's going to take care of the groundwater problem that exists out there. We are looking to improve the park. We're just not sure if the pond is the right solution at this time.
Okay. All right.
So is it a natural wetland now, Bill?
Yes, there were portions of it that were a wetland as far back as we could see, but it's been growing over the years.
So would you have to be doing any permitting if you decide not to keep it as a wetland, or try to do some other improvements to direct water with that, sort of like what Dave suggested, or?
Yeah, we would have to go through the permitting process on wetlands, and I think they were talking about possibly a mitigation bank, but we don't. It would take a lot to create the wetland in the area.
Yeah, sometimes you're better off going with a mitigation bank and getting a higher quality wetland somewhere else where you really need it for the groundwater if it's sort of a marginal one. I think it's a good process that the city went through. With engineering, it's hard to put out an RFP because different firms look at things differently, and to be able to get people's approach as to how they would, they can't do the whole study as part of their proposal, but to get their approach as to how they would do it, and then have the city staff evaluate that and see, what approach they're the most comfortable with, and then negotiate with that firm to see if you can come to a reasonable price, I think is a good way to do it.
Bill, how much detail, in your request for a proposal, I'm guessing you're, as I see it, leaving it somewhat vague because we don't know what the preferred solution is. Am I correct?
Right, yeah.
Any other questions for Bill? I'm going to call the vote. All in favor of approving the resolution signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. See if I can get back to the agenda. One sec here. Okay. Bear with me. Okay. So that brings us to agenda item number 6. Next meeting of the Board of Public Works is scheduled for October 19th at 5:30. Does anyone have a conflict they know of right now?
Not I.
Okay. Sounds good. I'll plan on seeing you all on the 19th. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Moved. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Granetsky. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. We stand adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for your time.